Now, this is a different kind of drawing. It also came out of our school of self-improvement here at the studio. It is the blueprint of a piece of equipment designed to make cartoons more realistic and enjoyable. This is the plan for a super cartoon camera. We call it the multiplane camera. It was intended for use in our feature-length cartoons. You see, we decided for features, the camera needed improvement too. Actually, the pre-feature cartoon camera was fairly simple in construction and operation, and generally very satisfactory. Here, a Mickey Mouse short is being put on film. Mickey has been inked and painted on transparent sheets of celluloid. This happens to be a panorama effect where the character will walk in one place and the background keeps moving behind him to create the illusion. Each time a new cell of Mickey is photographed, the background must be moved a fraction of an inch. Photographing each one of these celluloids of Mickey and background makes a single frame of motion picture film. And here's how the action looks on the screen. Now note that our character is capable of giving us a real feeling of 3 dimensions. He can move farther away and come closer. He can turn so that we see all sides of him. He seems to have roundness. There's nothing flat about him. He can almost poke his finger in your eye. But when he leaves, when he leaves, whatever dimension he has given the scene leaves with him. Now, the unnatural flatness of the background becomes evident. But besides being merely unrealistic, the old-fashioned flat background can also create a false effect. For instance, when our camera moves in closer on this moonlight scene, you'll notice that everything grows larger, including the moon. Now, when you walk along a country road toward the moon, it certainly doesn't grow larger like this, nor does it shrink in size when you walk away from it. The problem was how to take a painting and make it behave like a real piece of scenery under the camera. The trouble was we were photographing a flat 2-dimensional background. So we set about making plans and blueprints for a new cartoon camera that would overcome this. The different elements in the scene were separated according to their varying distances from the viewer. This put the moon on a plane farthest away from the camera. With our original picture broken down in this manner, it is possible to control the relative speed with which each individual part of it moves to or away from the camera. But the moon remains absolutely still, and so it will always remain the same, neither growing nor shrinking in size. Of course, our cartoon camera does not shoot sideways, but is placed above and shoots downward toward the drawing. Since this new camera used many planes, we called it the multiplane camera. And here now is our same moonlight scene the way the multiplane camera sees it. As you can see, we finally got the moon to keep its proper distance. This trick of obtaining a feeling of real depth and dimension in our painted backgrounds was used extensively in the feature cartoons. Perhaps an outstanding example of this occurs in the opening scenes of our cartoon feature, Bambi. Here we see the multiplane camera crew preparing to shoot that scene. Here are the planes for that scene, each with its own separate part of the background painted in oil on glass. Each of these background planes is placed on one of the levels under the camera. Each plane is capable of moving in various directions. Here we see one being moved sideways. The camera operator, looking down from the viewpoint of the camera, sees all the levels combined as one picture. From his view, we can see how each level or plane can move independently of the others. Here, the operator of each level is bringing his particular part of the background into the right position to start the scene. But before the scene can be photographed, the camera operator must okay the setup.
Everything's okay except the bottom level. What's wrong down there, Alan?
I was moving it the wrong way, Dick. I'm taking it back now. How's that?
Looks fine now. Okay, we've got that frame. Let's get set for the second exposure.
In our frame-by-frame method of photographing a cartoon scene, the feeling of depth is not actually too evident when the scene is under the camera. You might be thinking that it looks as flat as the old-fashioned type of cartoon background. In fact, it does while it holds still. The trick of the multiplane camera is movement.
You didn't know your light wash jeans were made by lasers. Well, did you know that?
This is live right now. Is this cool or what? Is this demure?
Why is there no AI model that can answer this really, really simple question? How many R's are in the word strawberry is stumping all of the major AI models right now. So here's ChatGPT's answer, here's Meta AI's answer. If it's not obvious, by the way, the answer is three R's in the word strawberry. Claude, when questioned, even pushes back and says that it respectfully disagrees, even though it's, wrong. What is actually happening here? The way that large language model technology works today is that before the AI model actually receives your input, before it receives the text that you typed into chatgpt.com, it tokenizes that input. And it makes it easier for the computer to deal with all of this data. So this is an example of the tokenizer that OpenAI uses, and as you can see, here they assign every single word or part of a word to a token ID, so it's to a numeric digit. And then the prediction that the AI model makes is based on these numbers. It's not based on the actual text input. So the AI model never gets to actually see the word strawberry. So when you ask how many R's are in the word strawberry, it's making what us computer scientists call a random frickin' guess. You can actually fix this by breaking down the word strawberry first and then taking all the letters and asking it the same question. Because when you move all the letters into their own tokens, now the model has way more information.
Wait, nobody really knows who they are or where they came from? Why not? Well, our histories are so confusing because of religion, and I mean mythologies. What we have today in every place is not history passed down from ancestors to descendants. We have mythological fairy tales. But despite what your stories say, you did not spring forth from the grasslands, neither did you coalesce from the aether. You came from somewhere to get there. All of you. We all come from the loins of one of Noah's 3 sons, and they got off a boat that landed somewhere right up in there. Even they got here by boat. But wait, isn't the flood just mythology? Well, there's an interesting thing about that. It is the oldest mythological story that is shared by virtually everyone. Well, floods happen all the time locally. Of course they're all going to have a flood story. No, they all share the flood story from the Bible. The details get a little more telephone game the further that it spreads out from the source, of course. Everything adapts and evolves the further it gets from the source. Do we not know that? We do. It's called microevolution. Happens with language, literature, culture, customs, skin color. Further you get from the source, the more you change. It's well documented. But oddly enough, religion and mythology is how we can actually trace back who we all are and where we all did come from. It leaves us a clue. The mythologies and religions are books of receipts of who we are and where we came from. Archaeology happens to support every bit of this, what I'm about to tell you. Except their timelines are whack, because time is relative and has this little tricky thing about it. You see, the further you try to look back in time, the older everything is gonna try to look. But this is a distortion, like unto gravitational lensing. Because everything that exists is on wave function, waxes and wanes, crescendos and decrescendos, including time. Because time is a byproduct of the mechanics of our universe. It's toroidal, wave function. There is no such thing as a constant anything anywhere. It is all wave function everywhere. Deep time is an unnecessary illusion. One parable and I'm done with this talk. When you turn on your Nintendo, Mario World does not have to evolve to come into existence because it all exists in the code itself. And the code is one mechanism starting another mechanism, starting another mechanism, It happens real quick. It doesn't take billions of years. It doesn't have to evolve that way. It's all inherent in the code. What code? Our universe is binary language, ones and zeros. Like unto a simulation? Yeah, that's what all our simulations are based on, is our reality. So to say our reality is like unto a simulation is only logical because when we simulate realities, we use this to do it. The fact that we can simulate realities that don't themselves need to take millions and billions of years to evolve into existence proves that neither does ours. As above, so below. From the macro to the micro. It's Russian nesting dolls. I've told you all this. So history is no mystery. It just looks like one. But we have all the receipts and the archaeology. There's a whole lot more archaeology. Wait till Antarctica melts. They're gonna have to explain that 200,000 year freeze. 200,000 years it's been frozen? I don't think so, bro. I think that happened 5,000 years ago, and we're gonna find out. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. I digress. How do mythologies and religions help us trace our histories to where we come from? Well, you're in luck. I've made a 20-year study of this. Despite what they tell you about our history, we know that civilization restarted about 5,000 years ago. Restarted from what? Well, there was a global flood, cataclysm. We know there was a worldwide civilization before that cataclysm, and we know that it restarted down there in Sumer. Wait, how do we know there was a civilization before the cataclysm? Well, there's megalithic structures all over the world that share common design and themes. Just like all the skyscrapers of today all began in one place and then copied one another, but changed with the style further it got from the source. The skyscrapers are not exactly the same, but they are all based on the same design, and they all appeared right at the same time because of that. Just like the megalithic structures of a worldwide civilization that no longer appears anywhere. Where are their bones even? They washed into the abyss. They are the substrata of the Mariana Trench. And there's trenches everywhere because they all got washed into hell. Fountains of the deep broke open, and then after the flood, the earth opened her mouth and swallowed the water. I'll give you another example of this. The people in the Indus Valley did not start carving statues of their gods until after the Greeks got there and put up statues of their own. And with this new competition in the land, the people who made no statues to their gods began copying the Greeks according to their own mythologies. Because if the Greek gods are going to be represented by images in our place, well then our gods are going to be represented by images in our place too. And that is how that happened. All of the Buddhist carvings are because the Greeks came down there and subjugated them. Skyscrapers and megalithic structures. Competition. The indomitable human spirit. Racing towards what? World domination. Who? The nations. Anyway, Are these talks as fun for you as they are for me? Because they're fun for me. I like this stuff a lot. It is my bread and butter, and I don't charge nobody for it. And yet blessings rain down from heaven. Funniest thing. That what Jesus said is true? I mean, anyway, I want to be very clear that it is true. Look, the history of the world is divided into 4 ages. We're in the 4th one. But it started in the first one, that worldwide civilization. From the time of creation, it ended at the flood. The age is over. When Noah and his 3 sons got off the boat, the second age began. Civilization restarted. There were 3 different worldviews in the world in those days. Yeah, there were 4, because Noah had one. But Shem's was just Noah's. He carried it on. Best he could. Japheth carried on Shem's. Not Noah's, Shem's. Once removed. Shem might know the whole story from Noah, but he surely don't know it like Noah does. Shem did not build the ark, Noah did. So Shem's viewpoint is going to differ from Noah's. He's a generation removed. You don't share the same viewpoint as your parents, do you? You're in a new place now, in a new time now, aren't you? We might try to hold to our grandfather's worldviews as best as we can, but we know that they weren't entirely correct, don't we? And so we're going to have to change some of that, aren't we? And Shem probably had that same attitude towards Noah, didn't he? Because we're talking about a son and his father, aren't we? So immediately, they get off the boat. You got Shem's perspective, you got Japheth's perspective, and you have Ham's perspective. Ham, we know from the Old Testament, wasn't right in his head. So right away, you've got 3 different dudes and their wives, 3 different understandings of the world and what has happened, and what it all means. Ham's children go down and restart civilization, which thing was learned from the fallen angels of the pre-flood world. They did not follow after the God of Noah, they followed after the gods of the antediluvian world. So everything they said about the story was flavored from that perspective. Japheth's people didn't hang around. They were like, nah, we ain't doing that. They left. The first peoples to populate the far-flung places in the Isles. The Aboriginals. Japheth's people shunned the technology. We don't want anything to do with that. We want to live naturally, they said, and did such. Ham's people were after civilization and technology. Japheth's people were living natural. And so from their perspective, nature became the gods. In their retelling of the story, the further that they spread. Because the forces of nature, the angels, fell in the antediluvian world. The angels, the forces of nature themselves, are personified because they're intelligent people from a higher plane of existence. Heaven. The forces of nature are angels that live in heaven, but they're also created, so we don't worship those. Like, that part of the story is true. The forces of nature are divine celestial beings. We know this from science. Anyway. They have metabolisms, therefore they have to have consciousness and perception. Because that's what it is. Never mind. Shem's people did a bunch of different stuff. They ruled over the people there in the land of Canaan. From cities. Did the whole empire thing too. Some of them were nomadic, shepherds. And everyone sort of established themselves in the second age. But then a funny thing happened. The second age ended. In cataclysms galore. Armageddons, wars. Empires collided. And it's not like one age just ends and another begins. Another age ends as the new age is born. So there's a little overlap there between the second age and the third age as the third age was born. But a funny thing happened with the mythologies and the religions. You had Japheth's people worshiping nature. You had Ham's people worshiping the old gods. And their ancestors got added to that religion. Namely Semiramis and Nimrod. Which is where the idea of emperor god Pharaoh comes from. The old gods are no longer here. These people can represent them. They are the old gods born into the world as people now. The story evolved, but right in the beginning of the third age, the tribe of Dan started a new religion where they took all 3 perspectives, all 3 concepts, and wrapped them up into one nice, neat little package to rule them all. One ring to rule them all. Included details from everyone's perspective so that it can be familiar in some way to everybody. And then that beast from the sea conquered and colonized the whole known world with it, setting the stage for the 4th age, where that beast from the sea went and did it all again, conquered and colonized everybody, under a new worldview, which is just the old worldview repackaged, slightly evolved and adapted for modern times. They call it science now. In the 3rd age, it was called mythology. Same thing, all grown up. And it started just outside of Laish in 1400 BC. And time keeps on ticking.
Check this out, y'all. Look what was recorded in the skies of Atlanta, Georgia. Have you guys ever seen this before? Look at this. Remember we've been seeing faces in the sky lately?
On the freeway.
Look at that, y'all. It's changing directions. It's looking all over. Wow. That's gotta be more than just drones, y'all. Y'all think, look at that. Is that coming out of the sky? Is that in the cloud? I don't think those are drones, y'all. I don't believe those are drones. That's gotta be something more to it. It looks like it's in the sky. Like the sky, the skies, like everything is a disguise. Look at that, y'all. Wow. And the crazy thing is, it turned around and it looked at her like it knew that she was recording. Did y'all see that? Yeah, that is no drone, y'all. That is no drone. Remember what they told us about the sky and three-body problem. The sky is alive, it's awake, and it's always watching. It's high-level technology. And if it's high-level technology, it has the capabilities of doing things like that. Shouldn't it? Let me know your thoughts on this matter at hand, y'all. This is interesting. This video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. I am only raising awareness to interesting situations during these interesting times. Like, comment, and share for more videos like this. Thank you for tuning to my frequency. Let's get this shift. Peace out.
Hey guys, I want to talk about sheep and goats. Very fascinating thought. I'm going to read Matthew 25:31-33. But when the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, then he will sit on his glorious throne. All the nations will gather before him, and he will separate them from one another as shepherds separate the sheep from the goats. Okay? And he will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. You know, we know this Bible story, we know this Bible verse, and we know that God's going to do it. But you know what we don't know? What is the significant difference between a sheep and a goat? Well, I'm going to read what a goat is. And then you decide whether you're acting like a goat or a sheep. Because every single one of us have acted like goats. All of us. Here are the significant standout points about goats. Number one, they will befriend anyone. They have absolutely no discernment. They will befriend anyone. They have no discernment. Number two, goats don't protect. Goats do not protect. Number three, goats cannot be led. The only way you can herd goats is with wild dogs or herd dogs. Interesting that it's dogs that herd goats. Food for thought. Goats are destructive. They will chew, eat, break anything and everything without any regard for its value. Think about that one. Goats are led by goats. It's the truth. They'll only be led by other goats or follow other goats. They will not follow a shepherd. Goats refuse to yield. Goats will never submit. They're independent, free will. They'll do whatever they want. Interesting. And the most amazing attribute about a goat, as opposed to a sheep, is that goats cannot recognize shepherds' voices. Only sheep can. I'm going to say that again. Goats cannot recognize the voice of the shepherd. Only sheep can. Go through this list and ask yourself the question, are you a sheep or are you a goat? Because I'm telling you now that only sheep hear his voice. Read, pray, worship. Read, pray, worship.
If in 2024 you still don't recognize that your biggest ops are the government and the churches, then you are cooked. You are cooked, bro. These are two institutions, two massive corporations, might I add, that you are supposed to trust at the utmost. They are supposed to be the standard of truth. And the cold, hard fact is that both of them have lied to you. Just so we're clear, that's not debatable. That is a cold, hard fact, meaning we can point to empirical evidence that shows you they've lied to you. You can literally go to their websites and they'll tell you they've lied to you. And for me personally, if you are meant to be the standard of truth and you lie to me one time, you're out of there. yet, because we've deified these institutions of corporations, we allow them to act out and forgive them over and over and over again. And I don't get fucking why. And I'm going to take it even a step further and say that if you believe that there are good guys in the entertainment industry, there are good guys in the church institution, there are good guys in the government, that there are evil and good there's both sides, you're cooked. There is only evil and evil collaborators. That's it. That's all. And again, I want to be clear in saying that I am not mad at the individual players. I am mad at the institution, the system that afflicts us, not the rapper, the institution of rapping, the entertainment industry as a whole, the people who are the puppeteers. I'm not mad at Pinocchio, nigga, I'm mad at Geppetto. And my thing is like, bro, how are you not? You either haven't done the work to go find out what's really going on here, to recognize we are quite literally in hell, or you are so deeply entrenched into the indoctrination of these systems that you are afraid to believe that we are in hell. But in case nobody has told you, we are in hell. Evil has dominion here. That is the facts. The worldly governors, they are the princes of darkness. There is no good fucking billionaire when there are homeless people on the street. And I don't get why we have to make this clear to people. But yeah, I'm gonna make it clear. Your government, your business corporations, the church institution, your biggest opposition. They are deeply embedded into everything that is pop culture. So to the extent that you keep watching basketball games, you keep supporting movies and film, the film industry, the fashion industry, you keep going to fucking McDonald's and Starbucks, you are working with the fucking ops.
Crazy, my friends. Lots of interesting and crazy stuff that we have seen today. Now, my friends, now that you have reached to this point, I'd like to take this minute to thank you and really appreciate you for being with us till this way. May blessings come your way, my friends, and lots of love. Now, if you haven't hit that like button, it would be really great if you did so that these videos, my friends, can be suggested to lots of people in the whole world. So please do so and help us in spreading love. Now, if you have also not subscribed and you've watched all this way, and it's been your first time here, it's a pleasure to have been with you. We would kindly request you to subscribe and join us on our mission of spreading love. I have been Y311H and I really love you, my friend. Now, you see here we acknowledge God Almighty, the Father, and it's impossible to believe in the Father without believing in the Son. And today we shall read from the Book of Wisdom and hear what the Son was telling some people during that time he was here. You see? So listen and listen closely. This is the guide of life, my friends. Lots of wisdom in here. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends. For everything that I have learned from my Father, I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you, and appointed you to go and bear fruit, fruit that will last. Then the Father will give you whatever you ask in my name. This is my command: love each other. John 15 from 15. Wonderful words, my friend. And the Son there was speaking about love. This love we always speak about here and spreading it to the whole world. Let's give thanks even to our Creator for gathering us here in love. Dear Lord Father, thank you for your love, for your kindness, for your goodness, Father, and for everything. Thank you for your breath in us, Father, and for our lives. Thank you for your soul, Father, that you've been with. Thank you, dear Lord, for the region where they come from, and their families and friends, Father. Bless them abundantly. May your goodness reach them from wherever they are, Father, and may your surpassing love be with them, Father. Dear Lord, help us to grow as a family, Father, and as a channel in numbers, Father, and in wisdom, Father, knowing you, Father, and doing what is right at all times. In Jesus' mighty name, we do pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Wonderful sauce. Be kind to yourself. Till next time. Bye bye. Peace and love.